Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. We actually were a little bit afraid that we will talk between ourselves. Not that it would have been a problem, because we have a lot of things to talk about, but we would love to share with you some of the thoughts that we had during these days. First of all, thank you very much, guys, for coming here and for saying yes. I'm kind of guilty for this because I put you on a speakers list. So I count on you making this panel a very attractive one and one of the best, to be voted one of the best panels in Aspen Ideas, Sibiu. You most probably, all of you, read what my four panelists are doing, but I will just quickly introduce them. Mihnea is the founder of Dizainar, a very nice shop in Bucharest that I invite you to visit, where you can buy very cool stuff. He's also an assistant professor at the University of Arts, and I think he is going to have a very good contribution from this point of view to share with us some of his experience. Dragos Motica here, he's the founder and creative designer of Ubikubi, one of the most acclaimed Romanian brands in the last period. He creates very nice stuff that maybe all of us would like to have in our houses or offices. Razvan Luca here. He's the founder of Zain, which is going to be one of the most promising events in the west of Romania, in Cluj, to promote the Romanian and international design. He's also the head of architecture and design for the Untold Festival that is up and coming. So thank you for taking the time to come here. And Mihai Gurei, who is also my friend. Maybe some of you will know Mihai from his DJ time, from Pro FM. Many years ago, he started as a journalist. And now he's the curator at the Romanian Design Week and also the founder of Intro Design, a shop that promotes international and Romanian design in Bucharest. And also he's the founder of Hip Shops, an app, a website that maps all the cool shops at the international level. So I invite you to enter there whenever you travel and visit cities abroad, because you can find very good tips and tricks over there. So thank you very much for joining here, the panel. All of you are very deeply involved for years in the design area. So I would like to start the conversation by setting up a little bit the context in which we are in Romania, and talk a little bit about the evolution of the Romanian design in the last years and what its place in the international context, or how it is in the international context. So, can we start?
Okay.
Yes, please.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here and be invited on such extraordinary event. Hopefully, we'll see each year more and more people coming to Aspen Ideas. So, Romanian design, this is a new combination of words, because we had Romanian stuff, we had design, but we didn't have Romanian design. There were, of course, all the factories that were building furniture during the communist era, and they were just replicating designs from abroad. Then, after the revolution, things were quite hectic. We started to have schools, design schools in Romania, which was a good start, and we already can see the fruits of that. Of course, some people went abroad to study, and they discovered new ideas and new ways of conceptualizing design. And since 4 years ago, we have Romanian Design Week. And I was invited to curate the selection of local designers. It was hard at first, in the first year, because we tried to gather a little bit of what was happening back then. We were talking about some really first stage prototypes they were presenting, nothing to be put on sale on the market. And today, in fact, a couple of days ago, we just closed 2016 Romanian Design Week, which was an amazing event in a very beautiful location in Bucharest. And we had plenty of stuff to show, and most of the designs presented this year are ready for production. So it's a huge step in terms of development of the local scene.
Razvan, how the things are seen from Cluj, from this perspective?
Well, Cluj is, let's say, always has been the black sheep of Romania from a political point of view and from whatever it's doing that's mostly different from the rest of the country, different from Bucharest. Besides the design scene, I think into question, I can bring a bit of contribution also to how the architecture scene and the urban planning, which is also urban design, showing it's very young. So for Romania, we are still, I don't know, in the period of puberty of design and architecture. Of course, we are always a few steps behind the rest of Europe and the rest of the world, but depends on what we're looking for. I think Romania has like a really big chance to not look so much at what the West is doing in trying to catch up with it, but to try to make it its own. To make its own trademark, and I think it's doing really well right now for the design that we see from Bucharest, from Cluj. The fashion design in Cluj is like a really big thing, and you can see it in most festivals. And I think, yeah, well, let's stop looking at Europe and try to look at ourselves and make us ourselves a trademark.
Dragos, I know you've been very anxious all morning to talk. So
no pressure.
No pressure, yeah. You are behind the product. You're the creator. How do you see this from your perspective, the evolution of the Romanian design?
Probably it's, yeah, I'm involved directly, but I don't know exactly. Yeah, a little bit it started to evolve, but it's not necessarily, it's at the beginning, you know, and I think we, as a designer working here, probably it's very important to adapt what you think or what you want to do exactly with what the country or what can
the country offers.
Sorry?
What the country offers.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why probably is not, I mean, if you see what others are doing now, probably you think that you are still behind with 10, 20 years. But I don't know.
I would argue what you're saying, because there are a couple of design weeks around in Eastern Europe, and I just spoke with some guys from a Czech company, and they were talking about the design scene in Czech Republic. If you look at what is happening now, a couple of years ago it was nothing. There were no design brands from Czech Republic, and now they have a couple of companies that are distributed worldwide. We should emphasize the fact that they are focusing solely on glass, because they have the tradition of Bohemian glass and crystals. So this is what they are doing, but they are already distributing worldwide. And I was talking with this guy. It's from a company which is called Lasvit. They are doing big pieces in glass, and they have markets all over the world, especially Asia, where they have offices already. So this happened in a couple of years. The good thing about Romanian design, and I will stop, is that it's quite eclectic. So you don't have a specific type of production or a specific line of design. We have many ideas happening, and this is, I think, it's a really good start for Romanian design.
But Dragos, I want to ask you, do you have a market in Romania? Do you have a market abroad? I mean, do you sell your products? Do you see an increase of the orders for the products that you make?
There is a little bit of a market. I mean, Mihnea and Mihai, they are selling our products. And there is, but I think that you have to adapt your thinking or your products, if you want to sell here, and if you want to sell outside the country, it's easier. And then, I mean, it's maybe bigger, smaller. The cost, it's important here. But yeah, it's a market which grows, in my opinion. But we sell mostly what we are doing outside the country.
Well, we will come back because I have a question which I think relates very much to the cost, meaning the understanding of the value of design later on, and I will ask you something about that. But Mihnea, can you contribute also a little bit of what we discussed here, the evolution of the Romanian design?
So I'm more optimistic. I think there is an evolution. I've seen Romanian design maybe happening in the last 4 years, also related to the Romanian Design Week, but also to the opening of our shop, and publications who started writing about design, bloggers who started writing about design, designers starting to have more confidence in doing design. So when we talk about Romanian designers, first, now we can talk about Romanian design. We couldn't do that before. There was absolutely no market for Romanian design before 2012, let's say. So there were no Romanian designers, maybe just some who went abroad and started doing design for bigger companies from other countries, but not here. So slowly we're also developing Romanian brands. Dragos and Ubikubi are very well known. There are also other smaller ones who are starting to do products that are internationally known. For instance, our shop is maybe not so much of a shop, but also a place that promotes Romanian design as an idea and designers. So what we do is we try to take this as far as we can. So that's why we went a couple of times to the Milan Design Week with Romanian designers, and now we tried to London. We went to London for the first time. And the feedback was very good in London. It was something new for us and also something new for London. What it means to be a Romanian designer in an international context right now is, I think, you're just a designer. It doesn't really make a difference if you're Romanian or Czech or English. What's most important in the international context is that you're a good designer, that your products are good. The buyer, the international buyer, doesn't come and ask you where you're from. Maybe it's just a curiosity sometimes, but for us to be a Romanian designer is important, to show to ourselves that we can do it. So I would take what Dragos said. There are two markets. There are two completely different markets. There's the Romanian market and there's the international market. The Romanian market cares if it's Romanian design. It makes a difference between international design and Romanian design. The international market doesn't care.
The Romanian market cares in a good way or a bad way?
I think in a good way. Yeah. I think it's going to be more and more important and more relevant for local customers to buy Romanian stuff for their houses, because when you buy something which is made in Romania, there is a story behind that you can transmit to your friends and people that are visiting your house. If you make a local, like a public space, like a coffee shop or something, and you put Romanian design, there is a story behind. So this will count more and more. That's why you need to push stories around your products more for the local market.
Actually, just 1 second, this throws me to another question that I wanted to ask. How can we educate more the Romanians to buy Romanian design and actually contribute to the growth of this market that exists right now? Because we have a lot of talented designers, but somehow people maybe don't understand the value of a design product and of the word design in itself. So how can we, educate them, explain them how this product was created, and make them understand why it's important to pay the right price? And this comes to what you commented earlier between the difference of the Romanian market and the international market, and the fact that you need to adapt your products to the Romanian market in terms of cost.
We are not doing that. I mean, we are doing products, we are selling them. We have products which are adapting better on Romanian markets because on Romanian market because they have a better price. Let's say it's a smaller object, but we are not thinking of adapting our design. One is for Romanian market and the other one is for international market. I think it's just a buyer's choice if they want to invest in our products or they invest to buy our product or to buy others. And I think that it's a it's
Mihnea, can you, because you have a shop where you sell Romanian design, how do you explain to your customers the importance of the investment in such products?
So I think first thing we're dealing with mistrust in everything that's Romanian. So this has been building up for 50 years maybe. We don't trust Romanian stuff. We'd rather say that photo camera was built in Russia 50 years ago and it's strong because it's Russian. But if it had been built in Romania, we would say, it's Romanian. So we have to fight against this mentality.
Even though Romanian furniture, sorry to interrupt you, during communism was really appreciated in other communist countries.
But not by us.
But not by us. This is very interesting. For example, the Russian market was really interested in Romanian furniture. They were buying Romanian furniture like crazy because they were considering it's the best quality in the communist bloc. But in Romania, we didn't know about that. I found out in a documentary on a TV station about this.
And there's also other examples. If you think about Brâncuș, famous artist, nobody cared about him in Romania until he died and he was internationally recognized. And there's many examples like that. So first thing, we have to fight against that. What we're doing to fight against that is build trust. So this is actually what I learned from a salesperson who's been doing sales for 20 years. He told me, you never sell a product, you always sell trust. So the first thing when you present a product is you have to show that it works. And if this doesn't convince, okay, there should be a story around it because the story maybe attracts. But if the product doesn't work, then the story is nothing and the trust gets destroyed. So first thing, we have to have good products that work. And we have them.
I have a question, sorry. I don't want to be the moderator, but I have a question because we have two guys that have shops, and one has Romanian, exclusively Romanian products, and the other has a mix. I don't know, I want to ask you if people, when they come into your shop, do they really, would they like to see more Romanian, or do they come because of the design? Because I think we have to educate that first. People should come for design, not care so much that it's Romanian or not. I don't know, maybe to help the local economy, but I don't believe in that so much. I mean, people really have to learn about design and appreciate it.
Foremost, customers are coming for style for the moment. And this is an issue that started to happen a couple of years ago when all the design publications started to push all these trends also in the interior design world, which I think it's crazy. So people, they are really interested in something which is really cool right now. So we can see waves with products that are really selling for couple of months, sometimes like 6 months, and the sales are vanishing. So this is a challenge for us to explain to customers that in fact a design product should be yours forever because it's an investment, like you said. It's not something that you buy and then throw away like a skirt or a pair of shoes. It's something that it's meant to be quality. It's meant to be durable. It's meant to stay with you for a longer period. So this is a challenge. It's also a question of trust, like you said. It's a trust in what you are buying. When you start to trust in what you are buying, you are willing to pay more for it. Because if not, you are forced to sell products which are fashionable, but which are really cheap. They are made in China. So they are just something that you throw away in a couple of years. This is a really challenge for a shop like ours. We always sold really high quality design products. and only authentic products. We are not selling knockoffs. The market is full of knockoffs. It's easy to buy like a cheap IMSS chair that you put somewhere and that's it, but it's really a struggle for us to explain to customers why they need to invest in something which is durable. And this is the same with Romanian design. They need to understand that these are products which are made in Romania and the quality is good, and it's a good investment for them. Also, they are a little bit cheaper than imported goods.
In trying to scale things up, I think there is a problem of perception for us, a problem of education, which probably will have another talking point. When you think about the lifestyle of people, how they choose their houses, where do they choose them, how they relate to the urban space. I mean, people do not. This is also about design. I mean, people look only at the price. For when they look for an apartment or a house, they don't look if, I don't know, how close is the nearest, I don't know, shop, kindergarten, do I have parks, do I have, is it well designed that I can meet people by accident in the space? This is really, really important, and it's the same with a product of design. As Mihai said earlier, people need to know that design is not just for fun and you pay to have, I don't know, a red thing, but you pay for a solution to a problem.
I want to talk about solutions because that's actually what's design all about. Design answers to problems. That's the idea behind design. So an argument for having Romanian design, in my opinion, is who else can be better at having a solution for a local problem than a local designer. You know best what the local problems are, like stray dogs, I don't know, you know, problems like that. Romanian designer will find better solutions for stray dogs than a German designer who hasn't had stray dogs around. And there's many examples like that. And this is one of my strongest arguments for choosing Romanian design in favor of others. Yeah.
But it's good that you mentioned that, and I want to ask you also, out of your experience and what you've seen until now, do you see areas in which Romanians are better, like, I don't know, furniture or small objects, or I don't know?
We're good at festivals.
I know you're good at festivals. But
really?
Do we have a niche in which we can say Romanians are better, I don't know, in making furniture or chairs or porcelain or, I don't know, something that they're really strong at in comparison with?
From my point of view as a curator, but Mihnea maybe has some more to add about this. From my point of view as a curator, I cannot see for the moment something which is really Romanian in terms of, let's say, type of materials, technique, style. There are plenty of ideas, quite different ideas, and I think this is a healthy thing. I think this is a good thing. I love design scenes which are flexible, like, for example, Norway design. Or I like to see different ideas, different materials, different techniques, because this can evolve in different directions. If you go one way, like Czech design is going right now with just glass, it's a good, because everybody will say, okay, Czech equals glass, but in the same time you cannot develop other areas and other industries around design.
Okay, so, please, Mihnea.
I've seen, I'm not sure if it's a trend already, but I think Romanians work with what they have. Is that saying, make a whip out of nothing and make it snap, whatever. And I think this is one of the common features of Romanian creatives. They don't have much technology, so they have to adapt. I think we are very adaptable, and this is a plus point. So we sometimes say it works like that, and this is a kind of improvisation. But I find that as a strong point. It's an opportunity more than a threat. So if we exploit that, and many do that, many already exploit this, we have some very interesting solutions, very intelligent solutions to problems that are very common, actually. So I think this is something we can develop further.
But building up on this, do you see some sort of a specific style or trend for which Romanians have some sort of appetite. I mean, we've seen, do we have at this moment some sort of social mimetism in which regards the design? I mean, I know that the Danish design took over the market somehow in the last years in Romania, and we see a lot of retail spaces that are replicating this style. Do you see it as a trend? Do you see something that Romanians adopt very easily?
Romanians adopt very easily. This is a good thing in a way, but it's also can be a trap because they also change their mind quite quickly. So what is in style this year, it will not be next year, which is not a good thing from a longer perspective.
From investment point of view,
yes,
as you said.
If you look at, and this relates well with the education part. If you look at the design scene in Nordic countries, everybody grow up with Arne Jacobsen piece in their houses, with a lamp from their childhood. They still have that lamp. It's still part of their family, still part of their history. So Nordic design means durable things, things that are always modern, that can be always integrated in your house. So even if you make a new apartment, you will always put at least 30–40% of the pieces in the house will be old pieces, vintage pieces, pieces from your previous houses, from your family, from your mother, from your grandmother. So this is the difference. In Romania, I have many discussions with customers. They are coming to me and say, I want to change something. In fact, I want to change the whole apartment. I'm bored of it. It's not trendy anymore. I need new stuff. And this is not healthy. It's not even healthy for our mind. We need to clear this stuff out. But this is a good thing compared with other countries. Romanians they like new things. They like new ideas. They embrace them. But they need also to filter more those impulses to buy and change all the time.
As you said, most probably it's a matter of education, because we are talking about design in Romania for only a couple of years. So we can say it's quite a new thing to embrace design in general. But going back to the education, because all of you mentioned this, this comes from schools, and it's built up and it's shaped in schools. So all of you graduated schools in Romania, some of you went abroad for extra studies. So what do you think, I just want to pick your brains because we are at this Festival of Ideas, what do you think we should improve in the Romanian educational system, starting from the ones that are producing and going back to the buyers, going further actually to the buyers, in order to you know, have a life in design and have a future in design and actually perpetuate more this kind of behavior, as you said, Mihai, and not buy stuff only for 1 year because it's fashionable, but for a lifetime, and understand the importance of an investment.
There's obviously two directions. There's design education and there's general education. I'd say there are not so many designers being educated right now. There's the Academy of Arts in Bucharest, who trains about 10 product designers a year. I know this because this is what I teach, so it's been active since 1969. That's the history of Romanian design. 1969 was the first year when we had Romanian design school. Then there's the University of Architecture, which trains about 10 designers again. And then there's a couple of universities throughout the country, in Iași, in Timișoara, in Cluj, and I think also in Brașov. So maybe at the end of one university year we have 50, 60 designers, something like that. Not so many. But there's also not a very great need, so this is actually where the problem starts. Nobody hires designers in Romania, product designers, I mean. There is not a market for hiring product designers, and this is the other problem of the education. The people who manage parts of the industry, they don't know anything about design, they don't know the importance of design. Even the people who study marketing just learn a bit about the importance of design. So at the end of this get together, when you have a meeting with a board director from a furniture manufacturer, they say design is just a trend. we can do without it. And if we're gonna pay a designer for it, we're just gonna make a test. We're gonna hire him for 1 year, see what happens, pay him not such a big salary, and let's see if that market, if the market absorbs his new product or hers. And this doesn't happen like that. After 1 year, if a product is in the market for just 1 year, for a big manufacturer who doesn't have a brand, let's say, it's not going to do anything for that manufacturer. The manufacturer has to start having the design thinking. So I believe when you talk about education, first we have to talk about design thinking, which should be taught in also other branches of teaching.
And as early as possible, from my point of view. I see two possible directions regarding education, and I would start as early as possible, as I was saying, maybe even in kindergarten, because on one direction you should discuss and talk about quality, about materials. Kids, they need to experiment and interact with materials because they need to understand where is quality coming from. What is the difference between different materials? What are their qualities? How they react with the environment? From a second point of view, we need to teach design thinking also as early as possible. We need to teach our kids how to solve problems, how to be creative around the situation, around the problem, and solve by themselves or solve the problem together with the others. And when you grow with this type of mentality, you start to understand why design is solving problems around the world in every area of the society, because we are not talking only about furniture design, we are talking about solving problems in society, solving problems in cities, solving problems in a factory, on the chain management of a factory. There are so many ways and so many areas where designers can be extremely helpful.
Razvan, Dragos, would you like to?
So there are these two directions, trying to put designers into the work field of maybe another company, a bigger company, a company that needs a designer integrated in its process, which I think, as Mihnea said, is extremely, extremely low. The number of designers every year that finish school, I think, is pretty small. I think it should be like triple. On the other hand, every year in Romania, you have 600 architects that finish school, and trust me, you don't need 600 architects a year.
Many of them start doing design.
Anything else but architecture, mostly, yes. And the other one is the designers that, because they do not have a place to insert themselves in the work field, nobody hires them, they have to go the entrepreneurial route. And here comes in question and a lot of problems that people in school learn design, which is great, maybe they are really, really talented, but when you take the entrepreneurial route, then all of a sudden you discover that design is only 20% of what you do to get out there in the market, to get known. So in Cluj, for example, we decided that besides the festival that we're going to do one time a year, we're going to start some courses to try and teach, because there are no such courses in Cluj, in the University of Arts or in architecture, to teach them different types of types of fields. So, for example, we did 3 courses for people who finish fashion, in fashion management, in communication and PR in fashion, in online marketing for fashion, because there are no such courses. The university in Cluj sees us as a threat. We are alternative university. What are we doing? Are we there? We are stealing their students, and we are like, do you have these type of courses? And I did not know, or what are we talking about? And people for soft skills come very hard to courses, that I can say. So people are really, really interested, and we don't have this base of hard skills. I'm talking for designers, not the general public. People in Cluj, for example, come for courses. We are a very, very low hard skill level. So they do not know Photoshop, Illustrator, 3D Max. They don't know the core to start designing. And for the general public, I'm not even going to start to begin that we talked about it. It's hard for designers.
But Dragos.
First, I have a question. If you think that it's, and then I will answer. You think that if our design, Romanian design, would be built or manufactured in China, for example, it will lose the identity or the market for?
I don't care where it's manufactured. I really don't care. I think we need to use our intelligence and creativity as much as possible, because we are Europeans. We should not forget that. And this is the fundamental tool of Europeans. We have the of our mind, the freedom of our mind. So we need to push this first. And then if we get to the manufacturing process, if we can find solutions which are good, and they are cheaper and they are easy to integrate in our manufacturing process, why not? We can produce all over the world.
So I thought that it became important here to have products which are built here or which are manufactured here. So
it's also important to be manufactured here, but it's a question of choice. As long as you are efficient with what you are doing, if you manufacture in China, you have a great product which is designed in Romania, it's a good quality product, and it's sold all over the world, I don't care. Because what is important is that the biggest part of the margin of the price of the product should go to Romania. This is the most important thing. If you manufacture elsewhere, but the most of the price goes back to Romanian budget, this is what counts, and this is what all the Nordic companies are doing.
Yeah, I know.
It's not manufactured in Denmark. There is no manufacturing in Denmark. Even the epitome of Danish design, Fritz Hansen, they moved all the production overseas. So, but everybody talks about Danish design. They are not talking about Danish design made in China.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
going back to the education, you are not going to get away without answering to this. So how do you feel, I mean, how did the Romanian educational system prepared you, Dragos, for being successful as you are now?
I'm not so successful.
Hey, you are. You are having right now one of the most, acclaimed Romanian brands. So, and that's why you are here, actually. So,
my question is, if we need to have education for design, I mean, I think that in my office, if somebody comes for an internship or something like that, I don't care really what he studied or she studied. For me, it's important how he thinks. So I don't think it's just my opinion, because the school didn't have such a big influence in my development. So I don't think that it's so important or is necessary to study design if you like that, and if you study, I mean, you can be a self-taught designer. For me, it's not important that. But in terms of education, okay, I have a little bit different opinion. I don't think that we need more than 60 designers per year, because we work with designers. We work with a few designers. With Ubikubi, there are working a few designers which are studied here, but it's very difficult for us to find good designers which can understand our thinking or what Ubikubi wants to bring on the market, or what's the image of Ubikubi per whole of it. And it's for me, it's not important, the school. And I don't think, I mean, it could.
So you believe that actually self-development is also extremely important, and
it's a creative field. So I think that anyway, you don't have good teachers here to have good design. So all of them studied by themselves. Even if they finish design, they have education for design. They do it by themselves. They studied, they developed their thinking, and they went to fairs. They studied other designers, and school is not important for me. And I think it's a bad thing to always think about education. It's important education in a creative field. education, maybe if you are an architect, is more important, because as an architect you have to have a diploma to practice. But
Yes,
design is much more democratic, all the design fields. If you are good, it's enough. And our school is not good.
And also,
Mihnea, sorry, Mihai, but I am looking at Mihnea and I'm waiting for him to burst a little bit, because he's a professor, he's associate professor to the Romanian University of Arts.
So we came together in the car. I think I will leave
separately.
I think you'll go by train. So, Mihnea, your friend here and co-driver told that there is no good Romanian teachers, and actually he offended you directly. You are a Romanian teacher, so what do you have to say about that?
There are two types of education. There's the theoretical education and there's the practical education. And the practical one is missing completely, that's true. I missed that as well. I missed it in the Romanian school, but I had a chance to learn also in a German school. And I learned how important it is to do things with your own hands. And this is what I am doing right now. Everything I do, I try also to make on my own. And Dragos knows that. That's what he does as well. That's why he says that Romanian education is not important. And it's true. Again, coming to the employers, if there are no design employers, nobody's asking for a diploma, yes? You're not asking for a diploma.
No.
Even if you're a design employer, yeah? So why should a designer want to go to school to have a diploma? Because this brings nothing to him, this diploma, right? So he's not motivated. Young designers don't want to go to school anymore. They don't need that diploma.
We need to create a broader image for design. It's something that I was supporting earlier in the discussion, because we always talk about design like a very intricate process, which is strictly related with industrial design and product design, where you are supposed to make screws and put screws together to make a beautiful robot. But design thinking is missing in Romania, all over the place. Look at what the new mayor of Bucharest is proposing to get free transportation for everyone and get money from selling wagons. This is crazy. There is no design thinking behind. We need to implement this type of design thinking everywhere. If you manage to create a trend regarding the way you are thinking your process, your business, your industrial process, then you'll perceive the need for a designer in your organization. Especially in the US, if you look at the United States, there are more and more members of boards of important companies which are chief technology officers, or sometimes even chief designer officer. And chief designer officer doesn't mean that he's drawing objects. No, he's involved in all the steps of the business. This is something that we really need to change. We should not stay in our cluster and discuss about, okay, we are making some very nice vases. Are we supposed to sell them here or maybe abroad? Should we sell them cheaper or maybe more expensive? How can we do that? We need to talk about processes. We need to talk about society in general. We have all the technology to do that. We have information about that. And we need to broaden this discussion. Then things will get easier. And then we can educate more designers in design schools.
Let me just get back to it. So it's a bit related to what Mihai said, but I just want to get back to practical education. In 2010, a team of Romanian students participated for the first time in the solar decathlon competition. It's a really big competition for solar architecture. What you have to do is to build a house, bring it to the competition venue, which was in Madrid in 2012. And a team of about 50 Romanian students and teachers from 4 universities took part in that, and we built a house. The house was called Prispa. At the time, many people heard about Prispa. This is a type of practical education. It's what we call design-build education. It's some of the first projects like that in being done in Romania, because universities don't encourage that. My university, the Art University, the Mincu University, the Construction University, and the Polytechnical University were the 4 partners, and none of them really encouraged the project at first. It was really hard to work with the universities, make them give us some space, make them recognize the things we were doing and get grades for that, for the students. It was a real fight to get grades for the students. But we kind of took the process out of the university, so we just did our thing. And in the end, there's about 50 people who built a house with their own hands, got the funding for it, got the PR for it. We did a lot of communication, we learned a lot from that, we did a lot of management. There was a management team of 7 people. And most of these people right now have learned a lot from this experience and are great entrepreneurs. Some of them, maybe you've heard of Marius Șoflete. He's an engineer. He works from Cluj, and he's the leading engineer in energy efficiency in Romania. He's the one who's doing energy efficient houses. One of his newest projects is called Evo House and is based on what he learned from this project. So what I want to answer to Dragos is, okay, traditional education may be a bit shaky, but you don't have to go the traditional way, I agree. But also universities have to play a part, because if we would not have been a university in that case, they would not have taken us into the competition.
Please, and then I would like to, because one of the Aspen ideas is to open up and get ideas from the public towards us and have some answers. So if you can add whatever you want to add, and then I will turn to the public for questions.
Yeah, maybe my answer was a little bit too...
harsh?
Yeah. The idea is that we have to change the teachers, because then changing the teachers or bringing others which have the experience in design. Like, we have 25 years of design, and we are speaking about design for the last 4 years. So another 22 years, we had teachers which didn't do anything. So maybe things could start happening if we could bring from abroad teachers and accept that we are not good yet, and teach other younger design students to become so they will become teachers. Otherwise, we are going around, you know, because I'm not teaching. I would like maybe to teach, but I was speaking with Mihnea about that in the car. I would like to teach if I would have an audience for that. Or he's saying that all his students are very, how you said?
Passive?
Not very motivated.
Yeah, okay, so...
Well, I think it's up to you guys, and I think I will throw you this challenge that you and Mihnea and Razvan, and why not Mihai, come back here next year for the Aspen Ideas Sibiu, and tell us how did you revolution the educational system in the design area, because I think with teachers like you, we do have a chance. We don't need to bring teachers from abroad.
They wouldn't like me, but I think Mihai would be a good teacher. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay, thank you guys. Now I will turn to you, our audience. We have already 3 hands raised, so cool. If we can have 4, if we can have the mic over there. Andrei, please.
Thank you, Anca. This is a fascinating conversation, and partly I find it so, not just because it's relevant for the Romanian cultural and creative industries context of today, but it ties into what Aspen was doing for many, many decades. Now, just to put it in context, the first buildings that are still up there in the Colorado campus were all designed by Bauhaus architects. And not because it was just fashionable, but also because the community that established the Institute thought that space, territory, the spaces in which we think will impact the way we're thinking. So the whole campus was designed from the geography of it to the landscaping to architecture and how architecture, those images there are actually the first Ideas tent in a way that also houses the music festival in Aspen. Were all designed by people like Saarinen and so on. The photographer of the Institute was Berke, a Hungarian Bauhaus-trained friend of Moholy Nagy, and so on and so forth. The reason I'm saying this is that many of these people weren't conventionally trained artists. That doesn't mean that they weren't educated artists. only that their education didn't always start in graphic arts or fine arts or architecture or conventional paths to design. But then again, we have in this room people that are musicians that haven't started by studying music. Filmmakers that have studied engineering or philosophy before going to filmmaking. We have, there's not a single way to achieve great success in design. And since this morning we've had a conversation about how you transform successful design ideas, whether in taste or in fashion or in furniture, into products, the question is, and I've listened to the conversation, and I think we're very close to such a point in Romania, but I'm not sure where you guys see it in terms of not necessarily being a specific brand or a specific sector or a specific art even, but whether there is enough creative tension in a society, and I must add, because you've talked about bubbles, enough mass, critical mass, to create the type of creative society that you essentially are talking about.
If I would speak about my experience with Romanian Design Week, this was one of the main purpose of the Romanian Design Week, and I emphasize this since the beginning when they approached me. From my point of view, the main objective would be to put people together. We need to create a sort of a community which should be a very open community where everybody can join and where we can start discussing about design in a broader context. We need to put it out there, and things are happening. We saw this year a lot of interest from media, many journalists coming, and a lot of media from abroad, which was excellent. And we had many discussions inside the exhibition, at the dinner table, in talks, in the design talks that we had each Sunday. So things are starting to develop somehow. And even the fact that we are here, it's excellent. Even the fact that Cluj is starting to happen, we will see design word mentioned in more and more contexts, and this is, I think, it's really important.
So for the past 4 years, there's been a lot happening. You're asking about critical mass. I think it started then. This is the moment, the 0 point, and then the mass starts building up. As Mihai said, we are here now. We were invited here, but 4 years ago, nobody would have invited us, probably. And this all not happens just here, but also other conferences and so on. And after the conferences, maybe there's going to be some collaborations. There's going to be talks between designers and musicians. Who knows? And I think this is the way to go. This is the mass that is building. And I'm very positive about this.
I'm not. We are not even close to a critical mass for
it's building up
for changing this paradigm. So I don't believe it. Maybe because I'm from a smaller city, not from Bucharest. But
what's missing?
It starts from everything. Not even design. It starts from everything. We don't have critical mass for a change in education, for change in healthcare, and we will talk about that. Other panelists. For me, the education system, I am waiting for it to collapse so that maybe it can be reborn. But I think it's very close to collapsing.
But you're already starting something there, so it's starting.
It's starting, but
for
that's
sure.
why he started the thing there, maybe to counterbalance.
Yes, I'm waiting for it to drop.
Don't wait.
And then
Help it.
We
Help
have,
it. Give it a shot.
We have the second question, the second hand that was raised over there, please.
I come from the classical music. I'm a classical avant-garde music composer, if the terms could be, I don't know, related. You are saying that the people don't know how to use the programs, the computer programs, in order to design things. I find it very, very curious. What do you mean? Do you mean in terms of production or in terms of creation? Because design existed before those programs existed. And me, as a composer, I can produce very unusual and new sounds with a violin without having to resort to a computer to transform the sound. Of course, there are computer programs that can do that, and they do it wonderfully. And this is a new genre of music in itself, but I don't completely understand what are you talking about, creativity or production in terms of using computer means in order to create design.
So what I was talking about is that the drawing, the classical drawing, the art of drawing, is starting to be somewhat of a lost art. What I feel from my bubbles. So a lot of people are going to the products that are trying to do. They're trying to do it directly on the computer, trying to doodle a bit, but it's not good enough to like give it to a producer or manufacturer and do a product. They go directly to computer programs, probably because it's even more efficient, it's easier to change. Although I think the art of drawing should be the first tool that any designer or creative should have in his arsenal. For us, it's also very curious because we did not expect that. I mean, we did the courses beginner, and also we did an advanced because we were like, come on. Sure, people will come to 3D Max or Photoshop or Illustrator Advanced. I mean, come on, there are a lot of designers, they need to progress, and the wind was blowing in that area, very, very big. So, again, it's a problem of education. They do not learn anything. They are expected for example, in architecture, you are expected to know already the programs when you go into the school. I mean, there are some. In the last years, they introduced some courses that teach you the programs, but other than that, it's like it's a given. Like you know how to ride a bicycle before you meet one. So,
you want to add something?
I don't think programs are important. I think thinking is important. So, okay, this is it's a very good tool to use and to learn, maybe in production, because yeah, you have to
put in practice.
and to use whatever is good for you. But I think thinking is most important, in my opinion. And yeah.
Okay, we have another question there. Thank you for waiting.
Yeah. Hello. As an anthropologist who came to design via anthropology, and as somebody who had experience in teaching design at offshoot of Middlesex University in Bahrain, I have to say that education is really important, but not education as a Platonician idea, but education as Aristotelian idea, as it was talked in the morning, which means practice. How do we practice education? So I'll just give you an example for there, and then I'll talk about Bucharest, and then I'll put you a question. We had in the first year students that didn't know how to draw a circle, didn't know what a circle is. Yes, all of them. And at the end of the first year, the foundation year in design, they all had, those who went to the fashion concentration, they had their own collection. We had design, interior design with built objects, and graphic design, somebody even did animation with plasticine. How was that done? Maybe 1 hour. I think we had 3 hours of theory per week. The rest of it was hands-on. And what we thought was process and research. Process and research and lab work. The advantage there was that it was all built from scratch. We designed the curriculum. So there is a tension there that comes out. It's the tension between the old theoretical school, as I can see it, and the sort of practical emphasis that all of you have. The question is how to introduce that practicality in the educational system in Romania. I have no answer. In 2007, because the history of design starts more earlier than 4 years ago, I came back to Romania, offered to teach in fashion design, talked to the students, and they say, well, we're not encouraged to do what you say that we should do. We're encouraged to do ephemeral things. We don't talk about how to advertise our products, how to put it on the, and we are taught to make things out of paper, not out of textiles, because anyway, we want to throw them. And that's a question that has to do with a certain culture that you talked about it, how something is sort of like not recyclable, but renewable all the time. So my question to you is, how do you introduce the idea of durability, of processuality, and of method in design thinking?
From what I learned as a designer, from my passion for design, is that there are, somehow two trends in teaching in Europe, especially. One is, for example, the Design Academy in Eindhoven model, where they are talking about the process, the creative thinking, design thinking, about renewability, about recycling, about all these problems that society has. And there are other schools which are more oriented toward production processes, materials, working in workshops, working with certain tools. And there is a hybrid version where they would teach designers more about the marketing part. They are talking about type of products, how should you market the specific product, how should you put it out there, how should you make the price for it, distribution, and so on. So there are different type of design learning. It's difficult to find schools where you have all these directions melt in just one. So I don't know what it's lacking. From what I heard from students and also from professors, we lack the practical part, where designers are supposed to work with the materials. And also from what we were saying, we also lack the part related with going out in the market and putting your product in the market. I think the part which is related with working with materials should be in the school, and it must belong in the school with workshops and so on. And the part that you are talking about can be outside the school, so you can have hours where you can teach students or people that are not even studying design or anything related with marketing and communication and so on.
I think what we're mostly missing is the connection to the market. And I'm saying that because I've seen it happen. If I hadn't seen it happen, I wouldn't know. Recently we had a workshop in the university together with the Renault Design Center in Bucharest. Their director, Jean-Philippe Salar, he's the head of design there, and he wanted to have a workshop together with our students. We had about 15 students in this workshop, and at the end, 3 of them got internships at Renault, which is a big thing. There's finally somebody who wants to work with Romanian designers in design, and this is big. They were so motivated about that. I think if you have a connection to the market, then you can also have the practical part, you can have all of these parts because you understand them organically. If you don't understand them, if you don't need them, as I was saying, if you don't need a diploma, why get it? If you don't need to work in the market with plastic or with wood, why do it? And there's 2 directions. You can either be hired, which, I don't know, 90% of people do, 90% of people maybe get hired, and 10% are entrepreneurs. And there's also the entrepreneurial teaching, which is missing completely from the university. We don't know how to be entrepreneurs. And this is also, I think it's at the beginning in Romania, how to be an entrepreneur, right?
Razvan?
What you said about education, I think we have to change the word, because it's beginning to be such an empty word, a keyword, probably because of politicians and everything. Education, you know how they keep their hand. I think it should be replaced with experience. So I think experience is more important than education, and not experience like when you come to an office and you just finish school and they ask you what's your work experience, and you need at least 6 years, 5 years. No, I'm talking about experience. I mean like life experience. For me, I was in the NGO environment very much in my faculty, so the NGO of the students, and I learned there. The experience I did there was where I went outside to the real world, outside the faculty, and tried to do a lot of stuff to get things going, to get events, to get my education going. I think it worked 3 years I learned more than in the whole 6 years of the school, because that's what education and the university wants to be, you know, like a simulation of real life. And right now it's not happening. So the best architects, historically speaking, we know, everybody knows, are not architecturally educated. So Le Corbusier, Tadao Ando, boxers and graphic designer, no architecture. So I think experience is more. Le Corbusier, I mean, people do this like now also. Le Corbusier learned architecture from his experience, 2 years traveling the world, seeing, drawing, and it's a lost thing. People were doing that like a century ago. They were sending their children in expeditions to learn about everything. Now things are really quicker. You have it at your fingertips, every information, every experience, but you don't actually do it. I think you should like do more things, learn, go to festivals, go meet different people, go to other countries, experience something other than your domain, your field, to be good in your field. I don't know if that makes sense.
Be a driver of a bus, work at McDonald's, do anything. Just don't go to school and expect.
Design then.
There is a design process there.
So just to conclude this, I think, as Dragos said, thinking, experience, education, everything put it together will work better, and we will have better professionals in this area. We can take one more question here,
yes.
And then there, if the organizers tell me that we still have some time, so we can have one more question here.
First of all, I want to thank Aspen Institute for doing this and for accepting me here. So thank you guys very much. And I'm changing a little bit of balance of age. So I'm going to tell you the way my rabbi says, and you're right, and you're right, and you're right, and you're right. I'm talking now as I'm a film producer. I'm hiring designers. And I want to tell you something, university is great, but without talent, you can have 25 universities. I see on my set, when the designer comes, you don't have to ask him what university you finished. He asks you what you need. And that goes like this. As a client, I don't want to buy a Romanian designer, I swear to God. I don't want to buy an American designer. I want to buy a good designer. For me, it's not important and it's not relevant. And I'm sorry to say it, I think it's cheap populism to say don't buy anything else but Romanian, Chinese, doesn't matter what. No, buy good quality products. And I have the same problem in the movie industry. Guys, you have to go and see Romanian movies. No, you have to go and see good movies. Because from the good movies you can learn something. That's my personal point of view. And I think this is the kind of essence of what we're talking now. The quality of what we're doing. If you can doing better through the university, and I really appreciate what you are doing, because I read a little bit and I know what you're doing, it's amazing. There are people, they need a frame of the university to move their brains, to make them think. Others, they think because that's their nature. It's not important how you get there. For me as a client, as your client, the most important thing is offer me the best product at the cheapest price. Because money, it's an issue. You don't have to ignore it. And the last thing, and I'm sorry, maybe it was a misunderstanding, but for me, designer, it's not a problem solver. For me, designer is an artist. I don't think that it's a combination of offering solution, but offering art. Because I look at the product as an art product. That's why I need you to be all of that. And the last, I swear to God, it's the last thing. I don't want you to learn marketing. I don't want you to be marketer. Go to the marketing, to the university, find people that are doing this the best. Ask them to sell you. You don't have to be in the same time the accountants, the marketers, the whatever. You are designers. That's how you create industries.
We need a time slot, another time slot for this.
I'm sorry for the time, but
thank you for the point. Do you also have a question to them, or you just wanted to add on? Thank you.
Can I add something very short?
Yes, please, and then we can take one more question
here.
here.
You are supposed to know about marketing, not to do it by yourself. But if you are not exposed to this type of information, you just think in your own cubicle about your great idea that in fact it doesn't have a market. So if you start to think in this way, of course you always need to collaborate with people with other professions.
And me as a marketing person, I would add also that you would have to accept what the marketing person is offering you and it's proposing you, because he knows or she knows best about that. So it's extremely important as an entrepreneur to accept that you need a specialist in that field. Of course, to understand what he wants to tell you, but also to accept that he knows best, because I think the paradigm that we have right now in the Romanian entrepreneurship is that the Romanian entrepreneurs knows best everything. So, but that's the topic for another session for sure, as Razvan said. We have one more question here.
Yeah, just to wrap up. So I'm happy because we're like marketing people and designers and architects and filmmakers, and I think design is about interdisciplinarity, and it's just bringing everything together and doing, I don't know, crossing boundaries and being a translator. And I wanted to ask you what a designer is. Is he an alchemist, like making, I don't know, something real from ideas? Is he a doctor? Do you like put a, you know, you have to go and see what the problem is? Are you a storyteller? What is a designer for you? That's one question. And the other one is like, you talked about Le Corbusier and Tadao Ando, the best, you know, architects that didn't went to school. And then again, it's Philip Stark who goes on stage and says that good design is about passion, about lust, and about love. And we are Latin people, and we feel. And you were talking about design, like Danish design and Nordic design, and yeah, it's okay in Romania, but Romanians are like, they're Latins, they feel. And I heard a speech once in Lisabona about how people communicate as Latins, and what they put their feeling into what they create. And can we find a solution to what we're doing right now? Is it education, architecture, health issues? If we go back to our roots, like Bruncuș did, and his art has meaning because he went back to Gorj and he reinterpreted everything that he learned when he was small. So can we do that? Can we go back to craftsmanship and find solutions there from our roots?
So, just quickly, first question, what a designer is? Very quick answers from which one of you, a definition?
Just one word. What do you think a designer is?
I would like to ask to answer both your questions. What are designers? First you said there are artists, then you said that I would just say yes, we are everything.
Everybody's. We're all designers.
We are everything. You are everything. Dragos.
I mean, we are guided in Ubikubi, and but I mean, for me, the most important thing in design is the emotion. So the other words don't count for me. The emotion is the most important for me. So, and to answer to your question, I'm not so involved or thinking of going back to roots. I mean, for me, it's important what I'm doing now. Maybe it sounds a little bit egocentric, but it's how I want to do it. Maybe others, and there are designers which design thinking about craftsmen, and and I have to put this as well. If you think in terms of economical part of your business, you have to see how and what you can design so you can sell it as well. So,
yeah, but then we go back to Philip Stark and his toothpick, and you know, and he thinks about what do you feel when you use his toothpick, and he does a lot of money with his products, and he's a craftsman.
Yeah, he's a talker. I mean,
yeah, but
Philip Stark is not.
But he's a product designer also, and he thinks you said about emotion and use emotion in your products. So he thinks about what what the user is going to feel when he's going to, you know.
When you do a toothbrush, I don't know if it's... I think
so it's about emotions.
He's more like a talker now. And he knows how to sell his products. So I wouldn't say that it's not a good thing that, or to be Latin, or to be Nordic-like. We are Nordic-like because we don't have, I mean, our designs are simple because we have very a hand of technologies which we are using. And that's why our designs are simple. Even if we would like to do more complex things, we couldn't. So I think we are in a good trend. Yeah, okay.
Razvan, one word for the definition of the designer, and then...
I was thinking of three. And
okay, three.
To answer to our film producer, designer is, to please him, an artistic problem solver, because this solves the problem to not have the bottle here. So it's problem solving, but it's not necessarily design. So thank you, we will add one more word. It's an artistic problem solver. But it's kind of a given for design. We will make it look beautiful, don't worry. Art.
Mihai?
For me, as I already support this design, nowadays it's more than just designing tables or making a toothpick that looks like a golden toothpick or something. For me, design, it's a thinking. It's the way you are thinking in a creative way, and you find solutions for what is happening in the world. We have so many issues, so many problems. So we should translate the notion of design from the persona, like you said about Philip Stark. I would ask you if you ever heard about Naoto Fukasawa. No, but he designs objects that are used by millions of people around the world. He's the main creative director for Muji, maybe you know Muji brand. So there are designers and designers. Some of them are using their persona so they can push their products. Some are using their creative universe, like Jaime Hayon, who has his own style. He's also doing art and also doing design. And other designers are more quiet. They are doing great products, but they are not in front of the products, like Naoto or Jasper Morrison. They have many beautiful products. The aesthetical point, it's very important when you talk about visible, tangible products. But when you're talking about process or you're talking about technology, the aesthetic part, it's more quiet. It's more about making things easier and nicer for everybody. I cannot use one word, I'm sorry.
Okay, it's fine. It's your choice. Thank you very much, everyone. I think we'll have to end our session here. Mihai, Razvan, Dragos, Mihnea, it was a pleasure to have you on stage. I think we had a fruitful conversation, and I think all the waiting in the morning was worth it. Waiting for the coffee, have a breath of fresh air, and start in a nice, good way. We have other conferences to come, so thank you all.
Thank you, Anca.